Are you looking for a family-friendly neighborhood with great schools, resort-style amenities, all at an affordable price in the Aledo area? Well, Morningstar just might be the fit for you. So today, I'm gonna cover everything you need to know about this growing neighborhood, from the location, to the price point, to the schools, to the future development. So let's dive in. Okay, now before we hop straight into everything that you need to know about Morningstar, I did want to remind you that I do have a couple of other videos on Morningstar that are not this inclusive. So I have one that has a list of the best new construction neighborhoods in the Aledo area, so check out that video if you're interested in. I also have one from last week that is about the D.R. Horton homes that are gonna be available for under $400,000. And if you want to be kept up to date on everything that's going on, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Lastly, I am going to have a link in the description that's going to let you look at the homes that are available for sale in Morningstar that will not require any sort of logins, contact forms, or email addresses. So check that out if you're interested, and let's hop into the video. Okay, so the first important thing to know is the location. So Morningstar is actually located just to the northwest of Walsh Ranch, so it's super convenient. It's still only going to be 20 to 25 minutes from downtown Fort Worth with a super convenient drive. So the main entrance of Morningstar is off of 1187, just north of I-20. And that main entrance is only 1.5 miles off the highway. So really close. It's a really quick on and off the highway. And there's going to be multiple entrances to Morningstar. So you have, the closest entrance to the highway is really only about 1 mile from the highway. That's off Old Weatherford Road. So you can kind of come in a south entrance if you want to go that way, or you can stay on 1187, hit the main entrance. There's already a third entrance just a little bit further north of the main entrance, and the new phase is going to have another entrance. So best general location, it is just on the eastern edge of Aledo ISD, super close to the highway and making that an easy drive into Fort Worth. Okay, so the second most important thing to know about Morningstar is the schools. And I'm not talking about Aledo ISD in general, because that's why we're on the channel right now. It's because it's in Aledo ISD. But specifically, they just completed a brand new elementary school, Lynn McKinney Elementary, in the property immediately adjacent to the east, so in between Morningstar and Fort Worth, right? So, but the properties butt up to each other. So Lynn McKinney Elementary School is right there. So super close, super convenient. And it's primarily going to be just Morningstar families. That's going to be like the attendance zone. It's a little bit bigger than that, but not much. And then secondly, you have McAnally Middle School, which has the property adjacent to the elementary school. So you've got an elementary school and a middle school right there. If you have kids, if you live in Morningstar, that's where they're going to attend. And then right now there's a single 9th grade campus and a single high school. So obviously you'd be there with everyone else. So that is also important to know. You have a super close elementary school. It is a walking distance for most of Morningstar. Now you might be getting close to 3/4, maybe 1 mile, depending on how you have to walk if you're in the furthest edges, but easy bike ride, easy walk for a lot of people, and you don't have to go on any major roads or anything. Okay, so the third thing I want to cover is the general size and scope of the neighborhood upon completion. So it's going to be 740 total acres plus or minus, and that's going to consist of obviously a majority home sites, and that final number of residential homes is going to be somewhere between 2,100 and maybe 2,500 homes. And I don't have an exact number because I think it's changed over the years with kind of expectations being adjusted, maybe the phases being adjusted. So I don't have an exact number. I've seen different numbers and I cannot get an exact nailed down number, but expect between 2,100 and 2,500 homes. There's also 120 acres of that is supposed to be green space. Sometimes those plans get adjusted a little bit as phases continue. And then, because I know someone will probably correct me on my last video, eventually there is supposed to be retail and commercial space, which would really classify this as a master planned community as it was originally supposed to be. So this was supposed to be a master planned community, but some of the aspects that typically make a master planned community, like an on-site school and that true shopping ability, kind of a self-enclosed community, that's kind of what is a master planned community. I can't find anything other than the initial plan saying that there's supposed to be 35 acres for commercial and retail space. So if all that ends up getting developed, I would call this a master planned community. If it doesn't get developed, then I would just call this a really nice development. I wouldn't call it master planned if it doesn't have its own elementary and its own shopping and retail space. But that's what we're gonna cover. So, oh, I forgot to mention, of that 21 to 2,400 homes, that's gonna be the eventual total build out. Currently, not including the phase that is going in right now, they're at just under like 1,300 total home sites developed with basically all the lots built on. So probably a little over 50% completed build out, regardless of where that total number ends up, which is something important to know that we'll touch on in pros and cons video, is that there's a few more years of construction left. Now, regardless of whether or not this ends up as a traditional master planned community, this is a great neighborhood with a lot of great amenities. But with that comes an HOA. So there's an HOA fee of $235 per quarter, so a little bit under $1,000 a year. And they have a lot of great amenities. So they currently have an event center, the amenity and event center, which is kind of the same thing. They have multiple resort style pools with a third coming that will be installed in phase 3. They have outdoor kitchen spaces. They have a playground. They have a basketball court. They have a sand volleyball court. They have a dog park. They're gonna have another one in phase 3. They have those stocked fishing ponds I've mentioned in previous videos. And eventually they are going to have additional hiking and biking trails through some of that green space. So a lot of great amenities. This is not your typical 90s era HOA where they have a small little building with a single fenced in pool. These are, resort style pools with cabanas, with splash pads, nice playgrounds. They have events throughout the summer where they bring in food trucks, taco trucks I've mentioned. They host things. And so that is one of the things that you'll see a lot of, is that kind of an intangible benefit of the amenities that are being offered here is the relationships that get created because you are out meeting your neighbors, hanging out, having fun. So a lot of great amenities that are currently there and more coming as the neighborhood continues to be developed. Okay, so closely related to the amenities that are offered are your utilities. So you do have fiber internet that is offered in Morningstar, and it does look like you have two different providers. You have either AT&T or Spectrum. And then the other utilities that are important to know about is that your water and sewer are actually provided through the city of Fort Worth, where the developer coordinated having a municipal utility district to fund those water and sewer lines. So what that means is that your property taxes are actually higher. So we'll talk a little bit more on that in another video, but you do have a higher tax rate in Morningstar because that MUD is being applied to your tax rate. Okay, so next up, I want to talk about home values and availability. And I'm actually going to cover that in two separate categories. I'm going to talk about pre-owned homes, and I'm going to talk about new construction homes separately. So let's jump into the pre-owned homes. So there are currently 23 pre-owned homes for sale, and that's with an average price range of about $470 to $500 for 2,700 square feet, with a top and bottom range for those available homes being $424,000 up to $749,000. Now keep that in mind as we look at the sold prices of homes over the last year, because 57 homes have sold in the last year in Morningstar. The average sold price is $455,000 for a little over 2,400 square feet. So if you look at the average sold price of $455,000, that is below the average listed price of the current homes available. But that does equate to a smaller home, 2,400 square feet rather than 2,700 square feet. And the range of sold homes, though, is between $365,000 and $547,000. So that is important to know as you are looking at pre-owned homes and what to expect over there. So let's hop into the new construction numbers, which I think you'll also find interesting when you relate those to the pre-owned homes. So there are currently 15 homes that are new construction homes available for sale. Now, none of this includes the new phase that's coming in because those homes are not listed yet. That will be in the near future, hopefully. So on average, for new construction homes, you're looking at about $500,000 for 2,400 square feet, with a top and bottom end range of about $450,000 up to $615,000 as the most expensive available new construction home. And in the last year, 27 new construction homes sold in Morningstar, with an average price of $530,000 for 2,850 square feet, with a range of $418,000 up to $605,000. So that's just important to know. You are paying a slight premium for new construction. So for homeowners who bought a year or two ago at full value, if they're having to sell their home and competing against new construction, they're taking a hit right now, which is to be expected if you have to sell a fairly new home and you are going to be competing against new construction homes. I'm seeing that in other neighborhoods, and sellers who are sometimes selling their home for less than they bought it for 2 years ago because new construction values have come down as well, so they're not able to compete and they have to drop the price even more. Something to think about. Okay, so I just threw a lot of numbers at you, and I want to give you some very simple new information now. So in my last video, I told you that the next phase of Morningstar was going to have 2 builders, Riverside and D.R. Horton. And that is what I was told by Riverside, because Riverside originally, I think, kind of owned the whole additional phase. Then they sold some lots to D.R. Horton. Well, what I've learned in the past week is that Trophy Signature Homes will also be building starting at some point in 2025. So I don't think they have any of the lots that are going to be available like super soon in this new phase, but that would open up your builder options sometime in 2025. And when I have more info, I'm sure I'll talk about it. But you will have 3 options throughout 2025. That's Riverside and D.R. Horton, as previously mentioned, and Trophy Signature Homes. Now, you have just completed a crash course on the Morningstar neighborhood in the Aledo area. And like other videos, I'm going to include a public collection link so you can review these homes with no sign-in, no email required. And if you're still researching and trying to figure out if Aledo is the right area for you, hit that subscribe button, tap the bell for notifications. Now, if you are one of the people who has already decided that Aledo is the right area for you, and that's where you want to move your family, whether that's next week or next year, all my contact information is in the description box below. Feel free to reach out however is most convenient. I'm looking forward to helping you make a smooth move to the Aledo area.